Welcome into the newest episode of the Big Influence Podcast. Today we have Olivia Steele, perhaps best known as Sarah from Bloodwash, Joyce from Crimson Snow. She is the Jamie Lee Curtis of the indie horror genre. Welcome in. How's your day going?
Hi, going good so far. I like that, Jamie Lee Curtis.
Like when you went from
That's pretty cool.
victim to gun-wielding maniac and Bloodwash, I'm like, this is like Jamie Lee Curtis in Halloween 2018.
It is, isn't it?
Yes. Take the power back before you put them down. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
So I thought that was really cool. So how's your day going? Or just life in general, how's it going so far?
I mean, chaotic, but good, as life usually is.
Yeah. All right, well, that's good. And one thing I like to do before I get into the meat of the episode, a couple of icebreaker questions. Number one, I do know you play games. What was the first time in your life where you remember playing a video game?
Oh, there's a couple. So I wasn't allowed to play games growing up, so I always had to get my fix from other people. So I remember playing Pokemon Battle Stadium with my cousin. I think Mario 64, Donkey Kong 64. And then eventually when I could actually play games on my own, it was from the Scholastic Book Fair. I don't know if you remember.
I do remember those. Yes.
Yeah. They had a double pack Nancy Drew game of Stay Tuned for Danger and Message in a Haunted Mansion. And because it was Nancy Drew and it's technically almost like an edutainment type game, I got away with that.
Okay.
And managed to get through all of Nancy Drew, but by the time I got my first real game, air quotes, was Penumbra Overture.
I've never heard of that.
Yeah, it's Frictional Games' first series before Amnesia.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So your book fair had video games?
It did, apparently, which was weird.
May I ask how old you are?
I'm 30. I just turned 30 this year.
Okay, I'm 35. So, when I was a kid, the coolest thing at the book fair was the Casper Mad Libs because I was crushing hard on Christina Ricci.
Yep.
Yeah. So, wow, video games. Okay, then I didn't have a PC. I had web TV, if you remember that, which you may not. 32 kilobit
I was not
connection.
allowed. Yeah, I wasn't allowed a whole lot of tech growing up. So, the Nancy Drew game was a real luxury.
So, were you raised as a Mennonite or something?
No, well, funny enough, actually, we do have Amish somewhere on my dad's side, but no, my parents are just a little more old school. So they come from the philosophy video games are bad. It's just rots your brain and all this stuff. But I grew up being a lot less coordinated than a lot of my peers because it's I didn't have that hand-eye coordination from video games. And even now, if I try to play anything that's super sophisticated, I can't.
Okay.
I could do the point and click. Point and click I could do real well.
That is pretty cool. And because the whole rot your brain thing, I used to think that was dumb, but then sometimes I watch my YouTube videos and I'm like, you know what? Mom and Dad may have had a point. But
I mean, I was lucky with the Nancy Drew games because I'll give the writers props. They researched the heck out of their topics, and I actually learned a lot from those games. And I remember showing off to one of my classes where some teacher asked a history question, but nobody knew it except for me because I played that one Nancy Drew game. And the teacher was like, how'd you know that? Nancy Drew.
All right, so next question. If you can only eat one thing every day for the rest of your life, what would it be?
Mashed potatoes.
Hell yes. Okay.
No hesitation on that. Mashed potatoes.
Yeah. I don't know if you're aware. I have a React channel, and they were talking about, I think it's Scotland called Tati cakes. It's basically their version of the potato cake.
Yeah.
Where basically take mashed potatoes, but they would patty them out and cook them.
Oh yeah, I've seen those. Yeah, they look awesome.
They have a version of that where I'm from. It's really good. And then if you're familiar with B. Dylan Hollis, there's a potato cake where it's like a cake made from potato. I've had that once because I couldn't believe it was real. Someone made it for me. It is some of the best food you ever have in your life. And
that's so cool.
Before you cook it, it does look like mashed potatoes with cake ingredients because that's what it is. So I guess that can count too. You'll have your desserts.
That sounds awesome.
Hell yeah. All right. So the reason why I invited you here, the thing you're most well known for, as far as I know, for all know, you may live a whole other life online. I don't know, but is the voice acting you've done. The first thing I ever heard you in was as Sarah in Bloodwash. That was most people's introduction to your work. But where did the voice acting start?
Funny enough, it goes back to Penumbra Overture.
Oh, okay.
It's a bit of a long story, but I promise we'll get there. So the games at the time that I was playing around had to have been about 15, 16. It was those Nancy Drew games. And then I had a friend up at a summer camp tell me about a game called Scratches. I don't know if you remember that one.
I've not heard that one. Reminds me of the cat from The Simpsons, but that's not it, I'm assuming.
Funny enough, my husband's cat's name is Scratch. But anyway, no, so she told me about this game called Scratches. I looked it up, found out that Target had a copy, but it was part of a 3-pack. And it had Scratches, obviously. It had Rem 2, which I never got playing, and Penumbra Overture. And Penumbra Overture is the only one that I could get running. So
okay.
I started playing it, was freaked out, and also I didn't know how to move because I'd only ever played point and click before. And this was my first 3D game, so I was like trying to click. I'm like, why aren't I moving? This is...
Oh, yeah.
I didn't know you had to use... Yeah, I didn't know. And eventually I just got so stuck because like I'd never played games with this kind of logic before. So I was like, well, they have tutorials and stuff on YouTube. I'm sure they have something on YouTube that'll tell me how to get through this, which is how I found Let's Plays. And that's how I found a particular Let's Player named Halloween4545. And his girlfriend at the time was doing voiceover.
Oh, okay.
And so, I mean, it's a bit of a hop getting there. But yeah, that's how I found voiceover. And I realized people were doing this through YouTube. Like people were hosting auditions for Sims Machinimas, which is some of my very first work. And I think some of it's still out there and it's not very good, but
if you give me a title, I will B-roll that in, and I might
honestly I don't even remember. It's been so long. At this point it's been over 10 years.
Oh, okay. So you've been there for a while. Okay.
Yeah, it's been a good long time.
Because that's the thing. Every time I talk to a voice actor or actress, as far as like indie games go, it's always a random introduction. There is no like, here's where you start. Like for me, I just saw a tweet from Puppet Combo, and that's how it started for me. Like it's very, there is no standard way of getting into it. It's like, oh, yeah, one day I just happened to be on this web page, and all of a sudden it started.
Yeah, that's how it is for pretty much every voice actor. We all have kind of like our own weird way of how we got in. The one I love most, I think, is Steve Blum. He used to, I think, I'm probably totally wrong on this, but this is just what I remember. I want to say he worked in the mailroom of the animation studio where they were doing X-Men, and just saw the audition for it, was like, I'll do it. And that's how he started.
It's so weird.
I mean, I could be wrong. We'd have to go back and actually verify, but that's what I remember hearing, and I always loved that story.
As far as things you can find on Steam now or whatever it is Bloodwash the first, or did you have work prior to that?
Oh, I had work prior to that. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Like, like brag a little bit. I don't talk to an icon very often.
Well, I do a lot of horror. Actually, a lot of my first earlier work past the Sims Machinimas, at least video game related, was custom stories for Amnesia mods.
Oh, okay.
That's redundant.
I've heard about mod voiceovers, and that sounds really cool.
Yeah. So I got to do a lot of cool ones for those. The two biggest ones for those mods was A Coward's Debt, which for anyone who knows anything about Amnesia custom stories, that was the second mod by Damascus, who has arguably one of the most popular Amnesia mods called The Great Work. So that one was pretty exciting. And then the second one is In Lucy's Eyes.
Where I did Lucy?
I was Lucy, although her voice, I don't think really makes it into the mod. I think there's a couple of one-offs. But I did voice all the female characters for that one.
Oh, all of them? Oh, okay.
Yeah. There's only 3, so it's not like it's that cool.
So I guess you had to change up your voice, like, or
A little bit. I kind of cheated the child voice a little bit. I find if you try to do, gonna give away all my trade secrets, but if you do your voice as high as you can go where it's still kind of believable, and then in editing, do the voice pitch change just a little bit, just up a tiny bit, it adds a little bit more authenticity.
Oh,
But you have
okay.
to be very careful because if you do too much on the pitch change, you start getting kind of those robotic poppy sounds, and that's what makes it sound really fake. So if you could avoid getting to that point, it'll sound really good.
Oh, okay. I'll have to remember that because I had to play around noise cancellation because when I did Cannibal Abduction, my chair kept popping because I spent $30 on this chair.
Mm-hmm.
And even that was too much money for what I
Yeah.
got. I finally had to open Streamlabs and do the noise cancellation, and thankfully it didn't mess with the actual voice. But it's home recording is so annoying, but I'm glad to do it though. But
Yeah, it can be a pain.
whenever you got the offer for Bloodwash, did you audition? Because like I know Princess Pow Pow, who for those unaware, she did the voice of, this is going on YouTube, I gotta be careful, the operator from Bloodwash. And she was
Mm.
also the voice of Razor in At the Gates of Hell. And she told me Jordan just DM'd her. Jordan
Yeah.
King, who, for those unaware, aka Black Ad Priest. I don't know if he learned about her from Twitch or Twitter or what, but he just DM'd her and asked, now, did you get an offer or did you audition?
I actually auditioned for Murder House.
Oh, another
And
fantastic game.
yeah, I didn't I don't remember getting a response on that, but that's kind of par for the course. You know, you send an audition, you don't hear anything back, and that's
Yeah, it's happened
that's
before
that's
too.
standard. But no, after that, I got an email from Jordan, so I just kind of assumed that it was because he probably heard my audition for Murder House.
Oh, okay.
So that's my assumption.
Okay, or maybe he's just an Amnesia stan. Like, do you
I
get
mean, he could be.
credits in the mods? Like, do they like have a credit they patch in or?
They do, but for a lot of those, I'm credited as AGP because before a lot of my bigger credits, my online handle was Aurora Guinevere Price, which is actually still my Twitter handle. It's at Aurora Guinevere.
I was wondering where that
And
came from. Okay.
yeah, and so on the Frictional Games forums, I just shortened that to AGP because I figured if I put that whole name, it'll look like just an absolute mess. So a lot of it's credited under AGP.
Aurora, I've never played Amnesia. Is that a character from Amnesia, or is that just an alias you adopted?
This is another long story,
Oh, we'll
if you're
spill it.
ready for it.
Yeah.
So in junior high, we're going way back. Um, my best friend at the time, we both discovered, like when we were starting to become really good friends, we both realized we really loved vampires and werewolves.
Okay.
And because I love to write and she liked listening to the stories I would write, I decided to make a sort of vampire werewolf story featuring us as characters. And so my character was Aurora Guinevere Price,
Okay.
which the name also comes from Sleeping Beauty because at the time, you know, she was my Disney princess. Guinevere I just thought sounded cool, and Price was from Vincent Price.
So when are we going to get the dramatic reading on YouTube and or Twitch of you like reading out the fanfic and doing the voices?
Actually, there is one that I posted years ago that was relating to that story
Okay. I might
as
have
that
to find that
character.
and link it.
I want to say it was that character, but I don't. I might have unlisted it. It was a long time ago. But no, I used to write a ton of stories as a kid. I still do. I would like to at some point branch out into actually writing stuff. And actually I have a mod that I've been working on for the past 10 years. And I've been working on writing with that one. So
Okay.
yeah,
So
should be pretty
I'm
cool.
guessing you've been writing a Sarah and Stan fan fiction or Stan fiction, whatever you want to call it.
I wish I had the foresight to actually do that. That sounds like a really good idea.
I mean, it's not too late, you know.
It's not too late. I still got at least another, what, 30, 40 years of my life, hopefully. I'll just spend the rest of it just writing Sarah and Stan fanfic.
And y'all can find someone to narrate the non-dialogue parts. And I'm sure, what was the actor that it's Stan again? It's like right at the tip of my tongue, but
I believe that was Devante.
Devontae. And also, okay, just quick side note: the fact that he also did the voice of Tom in Murder House, that man has range. Because
He does.
because I'm like, he sounded like a geeky white guy in that game. And then I was like, oh shit, that's Stan. It's all the same person. The man's a chameleon.
He's pretty good.
That was, yeah, I mean, it was really amazing. One thing I want to get into, because I've got a few things to add myself. Do you get any misconceptions from people about what exactly the voice acting involves or what it's like?
Not as much as other people. I usually get the standard response of, oh, do you think my voice sounds good enough for voiceover? Oh, I could do a few funny impressions. The standard stuff. Most of the time people just ask me, oh, well, what is it exactly you do? And I'll say, well, I usually do like indie horror games, the occasional commercial, the occasional audio drama, stuff like that. And I've never gotten anybody just be weird about it, which has been really cool so far. Yeah, I'll have people like usually ask me like, how do you get into voiceover and stuff like that? And it's, I mean, same thing I tell everyone, you just do it. You just go for it.
Exactly.
And you just work at it. That's really all you do. I mean, you practice and you try to hone your craft, but you first and foremost, you do it.
And also you buried the lead a little bit. You said you did some commercials.
Yeah, I've done some like radio tags.
Are you the one that talks really fast at the end?
No, fortunately not that.
Oh, okay. I thought maybe there was like some diabetes medication that makes you, have bloody stool or something, and you're the one having to share that as fast as you can.
Oh, that's always fun. No, I haven't gotten to do that particular commercial yet. Okay. But maybe one day.
So you the one talking about 4th of July sales at the car dealership?
Essentially, yeah.
Okay. Let me see. Oh, did you hear that?
Oh, yeah, that was a good pop.
Ever since my age started with a 3, my joints started failing me.
Yeah.
That's something else you have to get used to. People be like, oh, how'd you hurt yourself? I'm like, I don't know. Like, it's just, my foot just started
I injured
hurting.
my foot 2 years ago, and the doctors could never figure out actually how it was injured or what happened.
Oh, that's the best when your ankle hurts and you don't know why. You just wake up and like, when I went to bed, it felt fine.
Yeah. No, it's been in constant pain for about 2 years now. I was walking up the ladder, foot popped, and then it just constant pain. So I finally had to get like an ankle brace. I had to go to physical therapy and all this stuff, but they still don't know what actually happened. And it's so annoying.
Oh yeah, that's the worst. Like whenever you're walking and for no reason your ankle just decides to take a coffee break, and that's
Yep.
Yeah, that is the worst. Yeah, so one thing I'm seeing in the background there, I'm seeing a lot of what appears to be heavy curtains and looks like some PVC. So this is your setup, I'm assuming.
Yes. So it's kind of crude, and I'm actually going to tear it down at some point and start over. But essentially, it's just a PVC frame. These are some moving blankets. I don't know that you can see this one.
I see some green.
I have a couple pieces of just like, it's not even acoustic foam, it's just foam. And they're kind of spread throughout, but I'm going to be redoing it at some point, trying to make it a little bit nicer.
I mean, if it works, it works. I mean, who cares if it looks a certain way?
You can't quite see it, but my door is kind of falling off, so that's supposed to be up top. Oh. But the door kept getting stuck in my chair, and I would go to sit in my chair and then spin, because that's my usual thing. I just plop in the chair and spin, and then I've now lost 3 hooks.
Oh, okay.
Because I can't stop spinning. So yeah, we need to fix that at some point.
One thing I wanted to talk to you about, let's see if you can relate to me on this. Whenever a YouTuber you watch a lot of plays a game with your voice in it, do you have an out-of-body experience when you hear your voice?
Oh, God, yeah.
Like Markiplier played Stay Out of the House, and for those unaware, it's my voice on the kitchen TV, so like you hear me a lot. And it was like I wasn't quite sure if I was. It's gonna sound dramatic, but I wasn't quite sure if I was dreaming or awake. I'm like, oh, Markiplier like is playing a game, and like, or like when Jay from the Cub Scouts played Cannibal Abduction, I'm like, oh, that's me. Like, so like, what is that like from your perspective? Because the first, I held off on watching Bloodwash until I played it, but after that, the first person I watched play it was Jacksepticeye, which like, so what was that like from your perspective? Or do you just not have the fan behavior when you watch?
Oh no, it's definitely there. The first time though, funny enough, was also Markiplier, and it was that Amnesia mod, A Coward's Debt, where the game
So this is old
opens.
school Markiplier.
This is old. This is like,
Okay.
oh god, this had to have been like 2015, I think. The game opens with like someone being shot, and then the guy wakes up, and then you hear my voice, and I essentially am a character that kind of follows the player throughout the game, kind of
Okay.
like taunting them. And he heard my voice, and then he started like hitting on my voice. And at the time, you know, young baby me, I have like the hugest crush on Markiplier, so I'm just sitting there like, oh my god, he thinks my voice is cute. And oh god, I don't think any experience has really topped that, but that's pretty much how it feels most of the time.
Being hit on by Markiplier, like
Right?
that is something.
That was pretty cool. Can't live that down.
I was about to say I have not yet been hit on, as far as I know. Thing, and no one's going after Uncle Bob. But so another thing, the other game, well, I can't speak for everyone. The other thing I know you primarily from is Crimson Snow. It was weird because the whole time I was like, this girlfriend sounds like someone I've heard before. And then later on, I realized it was you. Because like you and Jenny Glenn, y'all killed it. Killed it.
Jenny did so awesome.
Also, like I discovered, like, because like I found out you were in the game whenever someone tagged you, her, and Step Hair. Is that the dev?
Yeah.
Am I pronouncing it right? Okay. And I was like, oh shit, that's Sarah from Bloodwash. And I followed Jenny Glenn too. And then I heard her actual voice in the YouTube video, and I was like, oh, she's not a native. She's not. I was gonna say Native American, like a native of. She's not American.
No,
like,
she's British.
Yeah, British and French. I think she either French to the UK or the other way around. Either way, it's like it's amazing. They're so much better at impersonating us than the other way around. I don't know why that is, but I was truly amazed. But like, how did you get cast in that? Was that an audition, or were you reached out to?
That was an audition. Yeah, I actually I was supposed to audition for both of them, but I don't have the greatest of time management skills, thanks to possibly having ADHD. So I didn't get the one for the ex-girlfriend in on time.
I think you're more of a current girlfriend voice type anyway.
I think Jenny was the only choice. She killed that. I was like, there's no way to top that.
I want to get her on this show one day.
Yes.
She popped into one of my lives on the gaming channel, and I was, it was like I started super early in the morning, so it was like normal time for her. And I was like, it's kind of weird because like during my stream of Crimson Snow, I made it no secret. I was looking for an option that'll let me just go to the X. No offense to you and your performance, but I was like, is there like an option where I'm just like, okay, I'll go? Like I was like crushing on her so bad. And I was like, it's kind of weird like speaking to you now because like I was infatuated a little bit. Like that was my Markiplier Amnesia mod moment. And when you do a resume, do you just say I'm Sarah from fucking Bloodwash and wait for them to make an offer?
Not really, because not everyone asks for a resume.
Oh, okay.
And if they do, I just direct them to my website, and Sarah's kind of towards the top, but
you put hit on by Markiplier on your list of accomplishments?
Oh, I probably should.
I just isolate that clip and then just put it underneath me like, I got hit on by Markiplier.
I did save that clip somewhere.
I was about to say, if you don't currently have it, you can just OBS screen capture. That's how I do B-roll for this. So
yeah,
it is.
Yeah, no, I have it saved somewhere.
2015 Markiplier kind of changed the game because it was him playing Power Drill Massacre. Puppet Combo was around, but that's what really put them on the map as far as I know, because so many people watch that stream. Like even now, just because it's his stuff.
Yeah, no, I've been watching Markiplier since 2012.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it's been a long time.
That was before he dyed his hair, right?
Yeah, way before.
Shit. Okay.
I think he was still living. I think he was with his mom at the time. I don't even remember.
Yeah, at that point, he wasn't even making a living on YouTube. So like that, you were like the pre 1 million, right?
He had an original channel called Markiplier. And that's where he uploaded, he uploaded all of his Amnesia stuff, and that got banned. And so he created his second channel, Markiplier Game, which is the one he's currently using. And I want to say I was one of the first maybe 100,000, I think.
Okay.
When he created that channel, because I was following a bunch of the other Let's Players he'd been playing with, and that's how I came across him. Was he was doing like a big collab with a bunch of other people.
And also back then, 100,000 then is very different from 100,000 now.
Yes.
Like back then, there were like maybe 20 people over 1 million. Like not a lot. Like it was not a widely. YouTube was still kind of niche at that point.
Yeah, at that point when I was more actively watching his channel, I think PewDiePie had only been around for maybe a couple years doing his thing. And yeah, that was early on in the game.
I got into Let's Plays kind of late. It was like 2017. For some reason, I didn't get it. I was like, why would I watch somebody play? I'll just play myself. And then I saw Jacksepticeye play Metal Gear Solid, which I stand like to the end of time. And I was like, oh, this is actually really cool. And also, he had mellowed out. I had seen a little bit of him years prior.
Yeah.
Green Hair Jack's a little hyperactive for me. But yes, the Sean McLaughlin you see today is actually more mellow than what you saw before, which is saying something.
Yeah. No, I had to get into Let's Plays because I didn't have any video game consoles at the time. My computer didn't really run a whole lot of games. So if I wanted to experience a game, and at that point I was starting to get into them, that was my gateway. Is I watched people playing. I watched through all the Silent Hill games. I watched through almost all the Resident Evil games up to that point. Haunting Ground, Rule of Rose, Eternal Darkness, the Amnesias, and I pretty much watched anything and everything that I could because I couldn't play them for myself.
I guess that does make sense because you have to live. Yeah, I mean, if you just don't have it. So like now, are you strictly a PC player or are you also a console player?
Yeah, my husband and I actually are almost actively collecting consoles. I think we pretty much have all of them except for the PS3 and like a bunch of really early stuff we don't have, but no, we've been slowly filling up our video game collection.
So. There you go. I was doing that for a while, but the money, like I had a Sega Master System for a while, but which is a little far back, but
yeah,
you know, and also I have a PS3, it's backward compatible, and it died about a year ago, and I will not. Apparently, I think it's a power supply issue, and it's fixable. I just don't have the spare cash to do it. But it's backward compatible, and it does make PS2 and PS1 games look better. And also, I don't have to get some fancy doohickey to convert it.
Yeah, so. Yeah, we tried doing that a while ago. I was playing some of the Silent Hill games with my husband because the only one he had played on his own was Shattered Memories. So I was trying to get him to play through Silent Hill 3. Well, I was going to play and I was going to let him watch because I know he's not particularly interested in playing. But no, we turned it on to the PS2 up to our TV, and it just didn't look good. It was like really dark. It was hard to see. The colors were all wonky. And
you'll have to get an HDMI adapter most likely. And some of them upscale to 720, which makes it look better. Although if you're on a PS3, it'll just I got backward compatible one. Yeah, any PS3 with 4 ports on the front can run PS2 games, and they can all run PS1. Most people don't know that. When they got rid of backward compatibility, they only got rid of it for the PS2. So all PS1 games will run on a PS3.
Yeah, no, I have a bunch of. I started actually collecting a lot of the survival horror games for PlayStation.
Oh, those are so cool.
Before I don't know if you've seen the prices for them now.
Oh yeah, when COVID hit, like I got that PS3 for like $120, but if I had bought it a year later, it'd be like $3+ at the minimum.
I managed to get Haunting Ground back in like I want to say maybe like 2014 for $20 on eBay.
I bet it's
and now it's now. Yeah, it's going for way more than that. So I was so happy when I started seeing all these prices go up. I'm like, I'm so glad I got all these games.
I mean, honestly, if you have a video game collection and you hold on to it, like it's going to sound dumb, but it's a realistic retirement plan.
Oh yeah,
because it's only going to go up.
Yep. So yeah, I'm so happy I got those because I would not be able to afford it now.
Oh yeah, no way.
Yeah.
So you mentioned your husband doesn't want to play. Is he not into the scary stuff?
he is and he isn't. I will say out of the Resident Evil series, my favorite is Remake. His favorite is RE4.
Oh, okay.
So he likes more campy horror than I do. And it goes for both games and movies. We're more movie people than we are game people, but we do like the spooks.
Okay, well, Bloodwash has some campy moments. Has he played Bloodwash?
Oh God, yeah.
Okay.
No, but I showed it to him. We watched it together. One of the things I did want to mention, in Bloodwash, you can flip the channels around on the TV.
Oh yeah, for sure, yeah.
I have now seen, I think they do 3 things. It's Ski Freak.
Yes. A very underrated game, by the way.
And Son of Dracula. And I always mess up the title of this movie, but Sorority Babes at the Slime Ball Bullerama.
Yes.
Yeah.
I was flipping through that before. So, are you voice acting that part, or is that it?
No, it's they're both movies that I have seen.
Wait, that's a real movie?
That's a real movie, because I see a lot of people when they play through it and they look at the stuff, they're like, are these real things? Like, yeah, those are real movies.
I wouldn't mind a Ski Free movie. I know that's not what you were talking about, but
yeah, I mean, I'd be down for that. I think it's based on a movie, isn't it?
If it is, I need to know. Jordan would definitely know, because that man is a VHS collecting fiend.
He is. Oh my God. I envy his collection. It's a great collection.
I didn't value VHS when it was around, because I was like 12 when DVDs started to take over, but I wish I would have held on to stuff. And also,
I've held on to a couple.
Yeah, and also Puppet Combo retweeted a tweet. Someone used an HDMI adapter. I don't know if it was on a console or a PC, but to play like Bloodwash, Murder House, stuff like that on a CRT. And with the CRT filter on, it looked so good.
Oh, that sounds awesome.
If I'll try to track down the tweet and tag you in it.
Okay.
So you can see it looks so cool.
That sounds cool. Yeah, I used to have a CRTV. Actually, I got it from my husband before we were dating. He gave me his old CRTV. And man, that thing, it was big and hefty, but HD is great and all, but I love that old film grain stuff where it's just fuzzy enough that you can still tell what you're looking at, but it's still it's fuzzy somehow. I love it.
And it makes quote unquote bad horror movies look better.
It does.
Like it just adds something to it.
Yeah.
On the video game side, they do a good job of it. But like as far as actual movies go, when they try to do it digitally, you can always tell it's fake.
Yeah.
Something about that old school, I just love it. I don't know if you're. Do you know Kat or Cataly? Like, have you spoken with her or anything? Okay.
Oh yeah, we've chatted.
And for those unaware, she's a friend of mine. She did the voice of Belinda in Night at the Gates of Hell. Mm-hmm. And there is a famous React YouTuber called August the Duck. And I bring him up because he has a gaming channel called Duck the August. And he found a detail in his Bloodwash playthrough that I did not. You know the door that's 2 doors down from your apartment in the game with the newspaper in front of it?
Yes.
If you click on the door and not the newspaper, it mentions that a woman and her son were living there, and they have not been seen. I hit up Jordan on Discord with that screenshot, and I was like, is this Belinda and Charles? Sure enough, Belinda, Charles, and Stan share a hallway. And
I didn't know that. That's cool.
Yeah, Kat didn't either. And I was like, and like he was apparently like no one made the connection because like August, I guess he had never played Night at the Gates of Hell, so he didn't get the significance. But I was like, holy shit, that's Belinda and Charles. So that's apparently how Stan, Belinda, and Charles met up in Night at the Gates of Hell, because they know each other.
Yeah.
And
that's cool.
See, now I'm wondering, like,
I know.
Because of the timeline, it takes place after, but like he's kind of hopping around the timeline. I'm like, I first of all, if you know anything, I know you can't tell me, so I'm not going to ask. But like, it also opened the door to you and Belinda and Charles like all being in a game together at some point.
I would be so down for that.
And also,
that'd be really cool.
With Charles, I can only assume they did not cast an actual child. So that guy, like, unless he used the trick you did, but like he had that childlike raspiness of a kid whose voice is about to change. Like, it was so well done.
Yeah, I don't even know who did that one, because I don't unfortunately always get to watch a lot of games. I only got to catch a little bit of Night at the Gates of Hell.
Oh, it's so good.
And actually, that's how I met Kat. I was hopping onto John Wolf's stream of it, and she was in the chat, and I think somebody recognized, but I don't quite remember. I think I was recognized in chat, and I was like, "Oh, Sarah from Bloodwash is here." And Catalina was like, "Oh my gosh, I'm the voice of Belinda." I was like, "Oh my gosh, that's so cool!" And so we were just like geeking out in chat. It was great.
Yeah, Kat's great, and yeah, Belinda and Charles. Like the hardest laugh I had during the whole game, and I had a few of them, was, well, I don't know if you've seen it, but something occurred on the boat that made Stan very annoyed, and I laughed so hard.
Yeah.
That game is how I taught myself how to put black bars on things to censor them, because there were a few things I'm like, YouTube's not going to like this, and that was before they had the pixelated mod. Yeah, that was truly great. And so yeah, y'all are neighbors. I wasn't sure if you were aware of it.
I did not know that. That is really cool. I'm gonna have to hit her up now and be like, "Hi, neighbor."
Yeah, so you, Stan, Belinda, and Charles were all shared a hallway. Like, that is a blunt rotation that I would love to be in the room for. Not to partake, because I don't react well, but if I could be the fly on the wall.
That would be cool. That'd be interesting.
I think so. Yeah, our hour is up almost. So I want to thank you so much for coming in. It meant a whole lot. Before we go, for those now, you don't see it obviously because we're recording, but your username is underneath you and all that stuff, and where to find you. But for those listening to the audio portion, where can they find you
at? Well, there's my website, which is oliviasteele.net. Make sure it's .net, because .com will lead you somewhere else. My YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter, for the most part, is all at Scarily Olivia. And I think it's pretty much just those 4.
All right, well, that sounds great. And I want to thank you so much for coming in. It means the world, and you're welcome back at any time.
Thank you.
And that is all for this episode of Being Influenced. And thank you all so much for watching and or listening, and y'all have a good one.